Book 3, responsible spending habits, is map 11 in the AM. And all that's money. All about money, man. It's the only thing that's important. Notice. Skip a couple pages. This is the last one about earning and spending. Then we're going to be talking about home and stuff. You can argue some of that stuff. That's what that stuff is. Contents. Page 4, though. Yep. Oh, it's still frozen, man. Yeah, you can talk on here. It's not like we're swearing. Okay. So the words that we need to know. Jessica, you're part of this, right? Hey, John. Need your ears open, right? So you hear me. Okay. Essential expenses. It covers needs. You can't live without it. Essentially, you can argue maybe you can live without it, but paying rent is, like I'd say, an essential because you need a place. You could argue, yeah, but I can couch surf. Okay, but I mean, let's live. Fixed expenses don't change from month to month. You guys know that if you had a home, I don't think any of you are responsible for your own home bills and stuff. What is something every month that would be the same price? You guarantee you got to pay $700 for this every month or something. Probably your rent. Rent doesn't go up or down by the month. Every couple of years it might go up a bit, but I mean it doesn't go up every month. Whereas I'm going to skip down to the bottom here. A variable expense changes from month to month. Gas would be a good one. Gas prices themselves don't stay the same from week to week necessarily. And you use more and less gas every month. Food, you know you're going to spend on food, but it's variable. There might be a sale on apricots this month. You go crazy and buy a ton of apricots. Something, right? GST, goods and services tax. Everywhere in Canada has to charge GST. It's added onto the price of everything, or everything, a lot of things. Not grocery food, that's not junk food. Non-essential expenses. Stuff you can live without. That would be what? Netflix. Good art? What's that? Disney Plus. Okay, you're now just listing other TVs. Crave. Okay. Yeah, those kind of things. Now, you could argue that Wi-Fi is a must, though, too. It depends on your job. There. Yeah. Anyways, but so some things, some people would say yes, some people say no. What about cigarettes? Non-essential. However, if you're a smoker, you might think they're essential. And I know people who do that before they buy enough food to buy their cigarettes. Anyways, I'm saying this as somebody, you know, I smoke too. So I'm trying to convince myself I'm quitting. Like, you know what I mean? This is for real. It's not essential. I can live without it. It's hard. Don't start because you'll end up being 34 years later or something like this saying, I'm trying to quit. Don't even start. PST, provincial sales tax. It's added on to a lot of the same things that GST sales tax is added to. So the federal government, like Canadian government, gets their share of some taxes, and then the provincial government here also does. Okay? And it goes to all kinds of things: healthcare, education, policing, and roads, and stuff like this. Okay? So we actually are lucky to live in a country where we share our money, and then healthcare is a big one. In some places, you have to pay for healthcare out of pocket. It's a mess. So your responsible spending habits. And you know what? Every adult you talk to a different degree, understands this. Not everyone can stick to it. It's tough. The types of expenses we've mentioned, fixed, essential, variable. There's a mix, and they cross over. Some things, like I was saying, some essential things are non-essential for other people. I might say that Wi-Fi is essential because I run a home business or something like this, and somebody else it's non-essential, and how they crisscross and stuff like this. I wouldn't think cigarettes are essential. Somebody might argue they are. Stuff like that. So now to check your skills, I'm thinking we know how to do percents, right? I know some of you do really well. But here's something I do want to check, and I'll do it with you right now. This is page 5. Rounding to the 200. Round to the nearest 200s. It's really just the hundreds. I don't know why it says 200. 2 decimal places is what they meant. Where's the button? Scratch that. And the reason why I want you guys to know how to round to the second decimal place, the hundreds position, is because that's money. So with this, underline here, 45.67. That looks like a dollar amount if I go to 67. And how do I know it stays at 67? Who knows? The 3 behind it is smaller than 5. So, because we're doing this for money, like the reason why I want to do it, I ain't even put a dollar sign. You don't need that. Right? It's not. Now, this one, 102.919. Why is that? You're right. And on the number line, 919 is closer to 92 than it is to 94. We're to plot. This one here, we're cutting it off, but it says 99.6. That 6 is bigger than 5. It's closer to 00 to 60 than it is to 99. That's really $260. I put the 0 there. This one, 302. Well, that 8 pushes it up to 303. Okay? Like I said, I'm putting dollar signs there because the main application is dealing with money, 2 decimal places. Don't give me 7 decimal places. Don't write checks with more than 2 decimal places. Not that you're going to write too many checks. Okay, I'm going to pause then. I got 2 questions, Zeke, and then yourself. Okay, yep, right where I placed. Okay. Just wondering, can you estimate this stuff? We're not going to write it down, but what's 10% of, let's call this $48, $47.99. What's 10% of that? You don't know. You know? Tell you what, to get 10% of anything, just move the decimal place. If that's $47.99, 4.799 is 10%. Yes, it is. That'll be just like your test. But make sure it's neat and tidy and with good labels because I'll be marking. Okay, so 10% of 917 would be like 90 cents, 90.917 cents, 92 cents. It's good to estimate. And if you get into a job, are you done? You'll learn to estimate if it's applicable to your job. I can tell you this, carpenters are usually really good estimators. Because I know some old guys and stuff like this. I do my carpentry, and I'm a math teacher, but I measure things and stuff like this. I got a good idea, but I know guys who can really just look at a room and they'll tell me, oh, that's 28 feet long. They're usually within a foot, 29, 27-ish. And they could just, because they do it all the time, you get good at estimating. And they could estimate, look at a room and say, well, it cost you about $600 to paint this, or, you know, stuff like that. They can give you quotes without even using a calculator. So estimation skills are useful if you get into a job where you need to. You use estimation all the time, though, too. Typically, you estimate how long it would take you to walk somewhere or drive somewhere, right? You guys do that, right? Okay. And nowadays you have Google Maps and it'll give you an estimate of how long it takes to walk or drive. Yeah. But I mean, even without Google Maps, though, you know how long it takes you to walk to school or drive to school. What do? Okay. 25-minute walk? Okay. Oh, you drive for 25 minutes. Wow. It would be probably about an hour, over an hour to walk, eh? Yeah. Bus rides are misleading, though, because they don't go directly there and they keep stopping. Yeah. Sometimes it's quicker to walk somewhere than take the bus. Sometimes. But on a cold day, I'd still take the bus. No. Okay. I totally get it if it's 25 minutes. Okay. Flipping the page, though, so we don't need that. That's super late, buddy. I'll let you go anymore. I'll pause. Okay, where was I? Personal budgets. What the heck did I skip? Oh, no, I did. I just lost my train of thought. Okay. There's different types of graphs. That's first of all with the budgets. There's bar graphs. I think you know of bar graphs. Histograms and plotted line graphs. And then pie graphs are the circle graphs. And then there's the XY dot graphs. The points are connected and do all kinds of stuff. So those are the kind of graphs we're going to do. How to read them and figure some things out. You guys have seen pie graphs before, circle graphs. Huh? Yep. Oh, it's frozen stuff. Thank you. In my memory. Same data in this circle graph. I don't know which one do you think is easier here. First of all, housing. 35% of your budget goes to housing. That makes sense. It's usually if you're running a household and you aren't living at your parents or something like this, usually your biggest expense. Groceries, 25%. Clothes, 10%. Vehicle, 16%. And it's not that you're buying a vehicle every month. It's like gas and oil changes and stuff like that. Other. Other could be a lot of stuff. Depends on your bad habits. Don't smoke and that's smaller. You know? Clothes, 10%. You think you guys buy clothes every month? You do? Some people do. Do you? No. I don't. These old rags? Hope I'm not paying that much for it. But everybody's different. And if fashion is important to you, you look great all the time like you do. Yeah, okay. If you're calling that clothes, sure. Now look at this. Okay, this is not the same. It's a bar graph. You spend 400 on housing, 150 on food, gas, entertainment. What do you guys prefer when you look at these two things? Bar graphs or circle graphs? Pie graphs. You like the bar graph? Okay. I'll tell you, bar graphs are easier to make. There's reasons to do both. I had a definition of the following. Income, well, that's money you made. Expenses, money you spent. And use the information on the circle graph. I have a budget of $2,500. Calculate how much money I spent on each of the following categories. So $2,500. Now I'm going to flip the page and we're going to figure out what problem it is. Hey, this is that cross multiply stuff I did on the first day. I like this first method. That's the way I do it. So, what you spend on groceries. I'm going to do it the way I would. So I'm going to look back on the pie graph, groceries. I'm going to ignore what they are. 25% of your budget supposedly on groceries, and you made $2,500. That's a coincidence. So I'm going to go like this. My percent is 25 out of 100. That means if I made $100, I'd spend 25 bucks on groceries. Luckily, I made more than $100. I made 2,500. How much did I spend on groceries? That's what I'm doing. You remember how to solve that? Cross, multiply, divide by the lower. You don't need to show where. But you'd enter this on your calculator. I'll bring up the well, works good. Oh, come on, machine. There we go. Good. So I cross multiply the diagonal. 25 times 2500 gives me 62,500. Then I divide by the loaner, divide by everything across from there. I get 5%. My typo with the screen. $625 for groceries. That's good. They have some. $625 for food. You guys eat out much? What do you eat out? I know you love over. What? Oh, you get like salads and stuff? I eat out. I want a hamburger. You eat light bulbs? Oh, gosh, you don't eat meat. It's crazy. I heard about people like you. Veterinarians, right? Okay, I'm teasing you. That's actually very admirable and very healthy. If you eat the right stuff, like potato chips aren't meat, and if you eat only potato chips, that's not healthy. But you're talking about buying salads and stuff, chopped meat and stuff. Okay, keep with it. If it works for you, that's good. And actually, in a way, if you eat healthy, it's actually more expensive than eating junk food. And that's unfortunate for getting filled up. So your budget would reflect it. Now I asked about do you eat at restaurants? If you eat at restaurants, your food prices go way up. You guys know this, right? Like my son and I, we just went last night to Wendy's. I'm serious about burgers. I love it. We went to Wendy's. We each had a Baconator fries and a drink combo. And it was like $32. But a Baconator? You know what a Baconator is? You do. You're a veterinarian, I thought. Okay. You just look at it and wish. Actually, I don't think I'd have a hard time being a vegetarian because you ever have one of those veggie dogs? Oh no, they're delicious. A veggie dog, and you just top it with real chili, bacon, cheese. I could be a veterinarian. Actually, yeah, I don't care for vegetables. What is it called? Nearly meat or something like that? There's Beyond Meat. Actually, yeah, they are good. I prefer meat, but they're actually good. Housing. They did it the way I did it. 35%, 35 out of 100 is equal to X dollars out of the $2,500 in. They shove it in between steps. Just use your calculator, and you'll get 875. Cross multiply, divide by the loan. That's a crazy piece. Stick with me, buddy. Okay. What about this? Use that information on the bar graph. I have a total budget of $725. What percent of my budget is spent on? Well, the amount spent divided by the total, like 725 times 100. I'll give you the answer. Now this is using the bar graph. When you flip back, where do they get gas? 100. Well, because they look at this. It's at the 100 line, gas. So you go back to here. If you're asked a question like this, say, well, I'm spending $100 out of every $725 I earn. I just put it in the calculator. I get 13.7931. I'd call that 14% of my money spent. You can put those decimals there. It's not money, so you don't have to chop it. I'm just saying, be reasonable and get around it. Ooh, if I spent from that same bar graph $150, let's see. You make this. That is $150. Say $150 spent out of my 725. 21%. I was taken out of the picture. What you guys can do is use the information on this circle graph. The budget is $2,700. That's a good chunk. You should be able to make a goal of that. You gotta be careful. And we're told that you're spending 40% on housing. So I'm going to set this one up with you and then leave you with these so you can figure out all of it. You might want to jot this down. I'm not going to finish it before we get started. If I say 40%, what's the fraction that I put down? Out of? Honey. And what do I spend out of that $2,750 and $50? $2,700. I'm old, so I say things like 27. Anyway, you cross multiply, divide. And you do that for groceries, you do that for entertainment. It's a repetitive question. Just to know how to do that. Then there's a bar graph. I have a total budget of $1,800. What percent? Now you're going backwards. You get percent. Spent on gas. Well, I say $200 out of my 1,800 is, I'm going to do it the fraction way. You can divide and times by 100, but I'm going to just go like this. It's X, and I'm going to make it a percent. 100. Cross multiply, divide by 1. You can do it this way or the other way. I prefer the fraction because then it's the same algebra all the time. That's why I use it. And it works. You'll say gas is whatever percent. Like 10. And you know what? I think you can calculate percent. I think you can work ahead on that. I know, Dave. I'm going to stop the recording.